All right. Hello, this is politically incorrect old white guy again. And my topic for today is the new N word. Now, before I get into that, let me just say that this whole brouhaha in Minneapolis is a wonderful illustration of two things or 2 points that I've made many times in the past. The first point is that government will fail you. And the failure in this case is a failure on both the part of the federal government and the state government to the tune of billions of dollars that they just threw out the window. And it turns out most of it ended up in Somalia, or that's what we're led to believe. Either way, uh, neither of these governments were responsible with our money. I've advocated for devolution, which means that the federal government ceases to become a fountain of cash and that the local governments raise their own money and decide what to do with it. Um, I'm not sure that that would have solved this problem because the local government in this case seems to be totally incompetent. But if it's any consolation, if it's their own money, they're likely or possibly likely to be more careful with it than if it's a never ending gusher of federal money, which appears to be the case here. My other little saying that is applicable in this case is government is a leaky bucket. In other words, even if their role is legitimate and they're entitled to, or it makes sense for them to raise taxes and spend the money on behalf of the citizenry, they seem to have a knack for wasting a good percentage of it. And that's, again, vividly illustrated in this case, where it looks like they wasted 100% of it. So, without being smug, I just wanted to add to the pile of evidence that things as they are not ideal. Okay, let's move on to the N word. The new N word is Nazi. Okay, it seems like every night I have to listen to some wild-eyed, usually female person yelling about Nazis and abductions and Gestapo and Hitler. Uh, it's to me extremely ironic that these same people are the ones that hate the Jews. And if they're not yelling about ICE, they're yelling about the Israel and the poor Gazans that have been so badly treated by Israel. What's really going on here? Well, here's my theory. These people are hateful people, and the people they hate are successful whites. Okay, so the Israelis fall into that category because they're clearly more successful than their brown neighbors in many cases. And on average, I mean, there's a border in the sand between Gaza and Israel. On one side you have first world, on the other side you have third world. And the reason that these liberals are taking the side of the Gazans is that their fundamental mindset is a hatred for successful white people. And that's the same motivation for their coming to the defense, physically in some cases, of the illegal immigrants, regardless of their worthiness. I mean, the vast majority of these people that have been targeted for deportation are criminal illegals. And to come to the aid of a criminal illegal, you have to have some kind of weird psyche. And I think this is it. It just, everybody brown is good and everybody white, especially whites that are in power or successful or have money or wealthy are bad. And therefore, to them, they don't care whether that person is a rapist or murderer. I mean, surely they're in their mind, they're probably only rapists and murderers because they've been persecuted and they've been, their backs are to the wall, so they have to molest little children. I don't get the logic, but I think that's what's going on at a fundamental level. And this is the same reason these people can't stop talking about white privilege. So listen up. What this is all about is just softening us up as a society for the day when they want to confiscate wealth and redistribute it. And who are they going to confiscate it from? Well, to a large extent from successful white people. And who are they going to redistribute it to? Well, to a large extent, brown people. By that I mean minorities who are less successful. Not to say that certain members of those communities are not successful. Some of them are wildly successful, but that doesn't seem to enter into this calculation or into this logic on the part of these complete nut jobs that are running around in the streets in Minneapolis and yelling the N-word. And when they're not yelling the N-word, they're using the F-word. Obviously, these people are deranged. There's no other explanation for this behavior. And what's particularly noticeable is that a lot of them are women, and you would think that women would be the ones most concerned about public safety. Women, after all, are the victims of some of the high-profile murders and all of the rapes. And of course, the children have been targeted by some of these lowlifes, and you would expect women to come to the defense of children, but apparently not in this case. Apparently, this derangement has gone so far that their brain function is impaired. So there you have it. That's my take on this messed up situation. Where does it play out? How does it play out? It's going to end up, I think, spreading beyond Minneapolis. I see already similar antics in Los Angeles. And could it be the start of a civil war? I guess it could. This is the fervor that this is the type of fervor that almost religious fervor that led to the last civil war. These people are openly talking about Second Amendment. All of a sudden now they love the Second Amendment and the First Amendment, whereas prior all they could talk about was, there are limits on the First Amendment. You can't yell fire in a crowded theater. There must be limits equally by that same rationale. There must be limits on the Second Amendment. You can't have a weapon of war. That wasn't what was intended, et cetera, et cetera. Now they're all for it. Now they're encouraging people. The woman in AG in Arizona did all but encouraged the citizenry to open fire on ICE if they should come to their residence or place of business, and to arm themselves. They're all suddenly in favor of bringing firearms to violent protests. So that to me is an indication that they, at some point, are going to get even more violent. Will that be bombs, as in the case of the UK with the Irish fervor, or will it be open civil war? Remains to be seen. Speaking of the Constitution, people talk about the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, but they fail to focus in on what to me ties everything together, and that is the opening statement that we are entitled, we have a right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, that word happiness sounds frivolous, but there's a lot going on behind that word. If you as a citizen want to do something that brings you satisfaction, you're free to do that in the United States, as long as you don't infringe on the rights of others. So if you want to become very wealthy, by starting a business or by becoming a highly qualified person, you're free to do that. That doesn't infringe on anybody else's rights. In fact, it improves things for everyone. If you want to become very wealthy by robbing banks, well, that's a different story, because now you're infringing on the rights of the people that entrusted their money to the bank, and you can't do that. Similarly, if you want to collect cars, and that makes you happy, as is the case with me, you have a right to do that, and they can't stop you from collecting cars. Now, substitute the word guns for cars, and now you see people start to pay attention. There happen to be a lot of people in this country who like to collect guns and shoot guns as their source of joy, happy, and as their happiness and their pastime. They are exercising their fundamental right to the pursuit of happiness. And nobody has the right to deny that to you, unless you are infringing on other people's rights by running around in the streets, brandishing guns in criminal acts, or by shooting your family or shooting your neighbor or shooting at police. Then your right to the pursuit of happiness, no matter whether that makes you happy or not, is abridged. So let's all recognize that we're all here to, in our brief time on this planet, to be happy, and we're all entitled to do whatever we want to do, or whatever floats our boats, to achieve that state of mind. And nobody can deny you the right to do that, unless you are overtly infringing on somebody else's rights. Their right to be happy, for example, their right to life, their right to liberty. You can't go around kidnapping people as a private citizen using your guns, even if that makes you happy. You can't do that, because you're infringing on someone else's right to freedom. So let's just bear that in mind. And that's something fundamental that you don't hear much discussion of. All right, that's it for today. And I wish you all a happy day.